um, I was talking about Eleanor and what I took as her betrayal of me. Oh my goodness. But talking with her a few years later, she didn't remember it at all. It was not important. Anyway, Eleanor is a part of the story because what happened to me in my research or listening to everybody's readings was that no one knew anything. And Eleanor was a really good example of that because even though the uh, test was you were supposed to do a live reading, she did a database of everything Ross said about any gate and clearly just said, okay, this for that, this other thing. And Eleanor, it really slammed me in the face that all she could do was uh, regurgitate Raw. Anyway, so some months later, Raw eventually went to LA and he worked with Eleanor and Eleanor's husband, who must have been like an allergist or something. Anyway, Eleanor and Marvin gave birth info for Marvin's clients, and he did Rod did all these recommendations. Oh, with this kind, you would do that. And Eleanor came away from this knowing that Ra was, in fact, full of crap. So, what I think he was trying to prevent me from doing was telling people he made it up and he was a charlatan. He went then to Eleanor, who was very generous to him, I'm sure, and she came away with making a deal with Ra that Ra would pay half and Eleanor would pay half of that statistical analysis. And so Eleanor told me after a couple of years that Ra blew her off. She was wealthy, and Ra always, as I knew him, was very desperate for money, hand to mouth. Anyway, he never paid her, and that was her cutting him off and going, okay, never again. Maybe you know that her work with multidimensional design was the result of Ra's work with her of saying, uh, this is the health and human design part. So, he made it up. But so here is Eleanor's shocking realization that Ra cheated and lied and didn't come through. All right. Now, Richard Rudd is another very important character for me in this story. And so Ra was going to go back to Europe, and I think he went to the UK, but I don't know very much about what happened there. Although I know this much, Richard tested one other principle. When we met Ra, he said, oh, 8 days, that's all it took me. So, and look, I've written a book. It's so much easier for you. Anyway, so Richard said, Ra changed that with time and ineffectiveness to, oh, you need 7 years to change your cells so that your cellular experience of living according to your type was when you would be illuminated or something. Anyway, Richard did his 7 years, and then his comment was, okay, it didn't work. He looked around people who had been doing design for more than 7 years and realized they were not okay. So Richard did his work, and I don't know, I think he is very beloved by the human design community, but I haven't heard from him. That's part of my disappointment with Ra's slander, that Ra was effective in saying, turn against Zeno because she cheated me. She cheated my kids out of their inheritance. And I never got my royalties. Yes, I understand. But what is true is I knew in 99 that everything he was teaching didn't work. Eleanor knew in maybe 2002 that Ra was not truthful. And then Richard Rudd, maybe that was by 2003, I don't remember, but he knew that Ra's work didn't work, and also that Ra was not an honest man. And so those three of us, all of whom got in that task to be Ra's right-hand person and recreate whatever his work was, each of us in our own way found out that Ra was making stuff up. He was kind of a liar. And why I make a big deal of telling you is that I think the entire program that he did, the Jovian, here is your strategy, here's your authority, that he was laughing at people if they would be so stupid as to believe him. He loved it. He wanted to be the big hoo-ha. And so I just wanted to say that he may not have been a good guy. The human design system, the chart, and so on, is something that by stripping off all the raw stuff, I think the chart is good, but Ra's interpretation didn't work. And I am very happy that I did find out that human design could be used for the good. And I just want to say the test was I could improve my relationships. I could get along with Chaitanya better. I could get along with my daughter, and all of the people for whom I had been involved. I did manage to find my way through. So with that, I think the errors that he made are significant. And it starts with him rewriting the I Ching. And you have to know that that was not an illuminated decision to write what his ego told him. Anyway, I have no idea who he really was, but the reason I tell you that story of the third crystal and that shamanistic fight in the cosmos to get himself the third crystal is because I think maybe he really was that powerful, and he, my word of him cursing me may have been right. I have not been able to reverse anything. I just deteriorate. So, yeah, it's okay. I know I did really good work. And there is some, let's call it spiritual task for me to recreate human design so it does not get lost. What Ra did was a ruination, full stop. And that so many people believe him makes sense. I loved him and I believed him, and it took really a long time before I went, this guy really was totally willing to hurt other people, me included. So, anyway, he is not honest. And the human design system, the strategy and the authority, oh my God. Anyway,